right, so in this video, we're going to cover the last two learning objectives from our Unit 7 test. All right, so this one, we're looking at the fundamental theorem of calculus, and for us, that's going to be what we call the fundamental theorem of calculus, part 2. All right, and that says if I take the integral of a function, I take its antiderivative, plug in the top, subtract, plug in the bottom. All right, so if I want to find the integral of f prime of x, I go backwards. I do like an antiderivative. I retreat from the derivative to the original function, and I plug in the top, and I plug in the bottom. F of 6 is 2, f of 0 is negative 22, and I get 24. All right, so this is the direct application of the fundamental theorem. This fundamental theorem, if I were to add f of a to the other side, it helps me figure out b by adding the derivative, or sorry, the integral of the derivative. So if I know g of 1, g of 3 is going to be g of 1 plus the integral from where I started to where I ended of its derivative, which in ours is g, or 3x squared. G of 1, we know. But this will have to take a little bit of time to figure out. All right, so over here, take its antiderivative. The antiderivative of 3x squared is x cubed. Plug in 3. Subtract when I plug in 1. All right, so all of that is 26. We started at 2. So if we started at 2 and we add 26 to it, our final answer is 28. All right, this one is a direct application of the fundamental theorem. If I want to take this integral, I do its antiderivative. The antiderivative's cosine is sine. And then I plug in pi. I subtract when I plug in 0. Sine of 0 is 0. Or sorry, sine of pi is 0. Sine of 0 is also 0, so my final answer is 0. And this one, same thing. Antiderivatives. 3x squared is going to turn into x cubed. 2x turns into minus x squared. 1 turns into x. And so now I plug in 1 first. And I'm going to subtract when I plug in 0. And this one simplifies pretty nicely. Just get 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 0 is 1. All right, so this is just the direct application of the fundamental theorem of calculus, part 2. All right, so 6.8, just more finding antiderivatives. Just kind of practicing it without having to do the extra part of finding the full integral. The integral of, sorry, the antiderivative, so when there's no bounds, you're just finding the antiderivative of sine. Really, there's two options that should make sense, A or B. And again, the antiderivative, if I take its derivative, I should get back to where I started with. The derivative of cosine is negative sine. The derivative of negative cosine is negative sine. And they cancel out and give me positive sine, which is what I want. So B is the right answer. All right, apparently this one I was being nice because I didn't give you an option for C. I bet basically finding the antiderivative for secant squared by kind of thinking about it's going to be really hard because it's a trig function and it's squared. But if you think about this in the reverse way, is that all of these are potential antiderivatives. And if I take their derivatives, I should end up with secant squared. So if you have your memorization stuff, remember, you just know if you take the derivative of tangent, you get secant squared. All right, 27, we're going to learn a more sophisticated way of doing, but again, use the multiple choice stuff to your advantage. Really, there's 4 options. I'm just going to take the derivative of all of these and see what I get. Derivative of e to the 8x. I remember I had to do the chain rule, so the exponential part gives me back e to the 8x, but then I have to multiply by the derivative of 8x is 8. All right, so that's not the right answer. All right, B, all right, the 8's going to stay, and we just saw the derivative of e to the 8x. Is that? So that's 64 e to the 8x. That's not right. C, the 1/8 is going to stay, and we just saw the derivative of e to the 8x again. Is that? Here, the cancel, and we just get e to the 8x. So C is going to be the right answer. And D would just be the derivative of 8 e to the x is 8 e to the x, and that's not right either. And here we just want to find the antiderivative of this function. E to the x, if we go backwards, it stays the same. Our reverse power rule is that we add 1 to the exponent, and then divide by the new exponent. It doesn't seem like we can do this right away for this one, but remember this is the same as x to the negative 2. So I'm going to add 1 to the exponent and divide by the new exponent. All right, this is the same as x to the negative 1. All right, so I'm going to add 1 to the exponent and divide by the new exponent. All right, so this is not simplified yet, and we'll explain there's actually one really bad thing in here too. But if I simplify a bit, all right, these two negatives are going to cancel and give me plus, and I'll change this back to 1 over x. Right. So those first three are right now. I bet this one should look bad because you're dividing by 0, and that's bad. So we can't do this reverse power rule to get away from x to the negative 1. But again, if you have your just general derivatives memorized, there's one where you take its derivative and get 1 over x, and that is the natural log of x. All right, so this 1 over x is a very special one because if you try to do the reverse power rule, you divide by 0, and that's bad. Actually, you have to remember this is the special one where you get the natural log of x. So now this is the right answer. All right, we simplified that, and we fixed that problem. All right, so that's everything you need to know for your Unit 7 test. All right, so again, let me know if you have any questions. But hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what to study and what you understand.